So there's no shame in losing. But he did take them. The last time the Knicks were a relevant team, who's the point guard? Jason Kidd. Every time Jason Kidd show up, the team is a whole lot better. So Steve Nash is a numbers guy. Steve Nash had mad game, insane game. The man could fire it up from anywhere. He's setting up players. Joe Johnson. Why you know Joe Johnson, man? Because he played with Steve Nash for a little while. Amari Stoudemire game got a whole lot easier when he played with Steve Nash. This guy's like Rashad Bell and these type of guys that you know because of Steve Nash. So don't get me wrong, Steve Nash is not a scrub under any circumstances, on any situation, in any day. Don't get it twisted. But simultaneously, you will not get me to say he's on the same level as Jason Kidd. I'm sorry, it's just not that. Jason Kidd killing you on the offense or the defense. Jason Kidd came into the league without a jumper and left the league. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I may be mistaken on this stat, but he left the league either number 1 or top 5 in 3-pointers made. You can bet that. When you lead the league and lead the all NBA history in 3-pointers made, hey man, you're doing something, especially when you showed up without a jump shot. They was calling you acing when you got to the league. Acing Kid. So that's how much he improved himself. And that's not a knock against anybody else, but when you're working that hard at your craft and you're doing the damn thing, you need to be acknowledged. But back to the point at hand. What makes a Hall of Fame man? You know, you got stats that help. They play a major role. Top 5. Joe say top 5. Who's top 5, Joe? You just can't say top 5. It don't work that way, Joe. What makes you a Hall of Famer? What makes the world pay attention to you? What makes you stand out? Because some people, like Jordan, George Gervin, Dominique Wilkins, I don't understand why we know Jordan went on the first time. Jordan should have got that Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier treatment. J. Kidd top 5 and 3s. My man. Appreciate you, Joe. He should have got that Mark Messier, Wayne Gretzky treatment. Jordan, Magic, Bird. You don't have to wait 5 years for them. But they didn't, and that's another conversation for another day. But when you are, you know what, let's just go with George Gervin, Dominique Wilkins. When those kind of guys retire, you can look right at the stats, and the stats tell their entire story. Alex English and people like that. But some players like Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, I could think Grant Hill. See, and Grant Hill is the reason. Even though I have a Grant Hill bias, anybody who knows me know impact on the game makes you a Hall of Famer. I totally agree, Joe. Impact on the game definitely makes you a Hall of Famer. Because you have to be able to encompass the entire player. Reading stats don't mean anything. Anybody can read stats, and I can read you off some dude's stats, and you'll be like, why the hell is he in the Hall of Fame? I just did it. Scottie Pippen. Nothing in the world says Hall of Fame about 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists, 47.3% shooting from the field, and 70% free throw shooting. Nothing about that says one of the greatest players in the history of the game. Nothing at all. There'll never be anything that says Hall of Fame about that. But unless you're putting up those Kobe Bryant numbers, unless you're putting up those Michael Jordan numbers, George Gervin numbers, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar numbers, well, the numbers are so insane that it goes without saying. But Hall of Famers are also people who don't put up such spectacular stats. One of my favorite players in the league, when you look at his numbers, you go, man, of course he's league MVP, James Harden. But if I had to vote today, my favorite player in the league would not be in the Hall of Fame. Last season, James Harden, 30.4 points a game, 5.4 rebounds a game, 8.8 assists a game on a pitiful 44.9%, 45% shooting, 36 from the free throw line, 85 from free throw. Yes, this is my favorite player in the league. And after watching him play in the playoffs the last 2 years, he would not get my vote for the playoff. I mean, a Hall of Fame. I'm sorry. James Harden is one of the most explosive scorers. He can facilitate. And believe it or not, people, at one point in the history of this world, James Harden was a defensive guy. He was the guy that you put him on people to slow them down defensively when he played with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Go figure that. You couldn't get him to believe that if he didn't do it. But at the end of the day, I'm sorry, James Harden, his impact on the game, his stats say Hall of Famer. His impact on the game says Hall of Shamer. Because every time it's a big game, James Harden disappears. He's nowhere to be found. And you cannot, or you can be in other people's Hall of Fame. You can't be in mine punking out, man. I'm sorry. No, sir. You can't do it. You cannot be in the Hall of Fame disappearing. Another guy. A lot of people gonna be disagree with this. A lot of people not gonna like who I'm about to say. I wouldn't put Russell Westbrook in my Hall of Fame either, because again, his numbers say Hall of Fame. There's nothing about Russell Westbrook's stats that don't say Hall of Fame. He's only the second dude in the history of the game. The second dude in the history of the game to average a triple-double. So people go, you have to put him in the Hall of Fame. No, I don't. Because Russell Westbrook being a Hall of Famer also means you're doing the right thing when it counts. See, Jordan will give you 50. Jordan will give you 60 if need be. But Jordan was going to play some real defense. He was going to play some real defense. He was going, if need be, he was going to get you 8-9 assists. If need be, don't get me wrong, he ain't going to do it a whole lot. Mike ain't doing it a whole lot. Sorry, y'all. Mike ain't going to do it a whole lot. Another thing, look, Russell Westbrook last year, 25.4, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 44.9, same shooting percentage as my man, 29.8% from the free throw line, from the 3-point line, 73% from the free throw line. Now, he pretty much got hit. I don't know what was going on with his free throw percentage last year and his 3-point percentage last year. They both were down, but his field goal percentage went up from his career averages. Assists. So for real, Russ, when he ain't trying to get a triple-double, he's 23, 6, and 8. Which on paper, Russ is the man. But what does Russell do when the game is on the line? Do you trust Russell Westbrook to make the right decision? Do you trust James Harden to come through in the clutch? No, you don't. Either one, both those questions are an astounding no. You can like them, you can be in love with them, you can want to have a baby bam or whatever. And when it comes to put the game on the line, who you want? Scottie Pippen, Russell Westbrook, or James Harden? If you know anything about basketball, you want Scottie Pippen. They can outscore Scottie with the greatest of ease. They will run circles around Scottie in regards to scoring. But guess what? I also seen Scottie give Jamal Bansburn a 50 burger. Yes, I seen Scottie Pippen do that. After he had the Scottie a 50 burger, Scottie come back the next game and lock him down and then give him 50 right back. So that shows you that, yes, somebody gave Scottie Pippen a 50-piece spicy. But he came back and gave it right to him and locked him down. Russ or James Harden is not going to do that. Is it game 7 against the Pistons? You know what? If you want to say that about Scottie, well, is it game 4 or is it game 3 against the Orlando Magic where Michael Jordan got scared and threw the ball over Scottie Pippen's head? Is it game 5 when Nick Anderson took it from Michael Jordan at half court? Is it the fact that Dr. J lost 3 NBA Finals before they got Moses Malone? Is it tragic magic? See, we can't single out. You can't outweigh an entire career of excellence by one instance. Scottie Pippen has said some things that I'm dissatisfied with. He sounds like a real girl talking. No disrespect for any woman, but he sounds like a little girl talking. He's mad at Isaiah Thomas for doing what he did in the 80s. Come on, man. Get over that, Scottie. Get over that, man. Get over that. It was in the midst of the game, and that's just the way the league was played. You can stick to the narrative of the Pistons was wild and crazy, Scottie Pippen, if you want to, but at the end of the day, the entire league was playing that way. For whatever reason, Isaiah and the Pistons got the most heat for it. They took the greatest heat check for it. So you sounded like a pussy. And I'm gonna keep it real. You sound like a pussy talking about you mad at at Isaiah Thomas. Michael Jordan may be mad, but he ain't finna tell the whole world he mad at him. What's up, Kim? Thanks for chiming in. He might be mad, but he ain't talking about it that day. I've literally, and if you don't believe me, go to YouTube, find Ebro in the morning, and you will literally hear Horace Grant say the words, "I love Isaiah Thomas. They used to beat us up, but Isaiah Thomas is the man." You will literally hear him say that. So, Scotty, get the hell over it, man. I'm not asking you to like Isaiah Thomas, but that's the way basketball is played. And if you ain't with that, then you need to get mad at David Stern. You need to get mad at Phil Jackson. But you know what? It's amazing how, and I know I'm getting way off the beaten path in regards to this. And yes, if you're listening, if Eric Brown listening, yeah, you know Isaiah is my man. But this has nothing to do with Isaiah Thomas. How is it that everybody hates Isaiah Thomas, but ain't nobody mad at Chuck Daly? Explain that to me, man. I mean, rest in peace, Chuck Daly. But when Chuck Daly died, nobody ever said a disparaging word about him. Oh man, Isaiah Thomas was the leader of them beating up on people. So why didn't Chuck Daly tell them to stop? Why ain't nobody mad at Pat Riley? Because the Knicks was doing exactly what the Pistons was doing, and K.C. Jones was allowing the Celtics and Jerry Seasteen, Sidney Moncrief, another dude who I said need to be in the Hall of Fame. Sidney Moncrief was whooping on Jerry Seasteen ass every year in the playoffs, but ain't nobody mad at K.C. Jones and the Boston Celtics. But everybody mad at Isaiah Thomas. Everybody who didn't watch more than 15 years of basketball has seen a highlight reel of Kevin McHale clotheslining my man with the glasses, Kurt Rambis. If you watch basketball more than 10 times at the beginning of the NBA Finals or playoffs or whatever it is, you have seen Kurt Rambis get clotheslined by Kevin McHale. You've also heard of, if you watch that Boston Celtics 30 for 30, the perfect enemies, Kurt Rambis. Thank you, Joe. Thanks. Good looking out, dog. You've also heard James Worthy say, we wasn't worried about the Pistons. It was the Celtics we were worried about. But everybody mad at Isaiah. Explain it. I don't even want you to explain it to me because it's going to be some stupid shit you say. But anyway, allow me to digress. The numbers don't mean as much as the actual impact on the game, man. I'm sorry, they don't. Because, hey, I can name, it's one dude that I definitely don't think, there's two guys. One of them I really like and one of them I didn't really see. But it amazes me how Bill Walton, no matter how dominant he was, he's in the Hall of Fame. Now I understand Bill Walton is one of the few NBA superstars to take a team with a bunch of also-rans to the final and win. I get it. He did it to the Doctor against the Doctor, World Free, Doug Collins, Maurice Cheeks, Dale Dawkins, George McGinnis. He beat them. Hakeem Olajuwon did it, and at the time Tim Duncan did it because nobody said Ginobili and Parker at that time was going to be Hall of Fame, and Olajuwon did it. Them the only people I've seen take a bunch of dudes that we really wasn't jocking like that to the finals and win. I get it, but him and Ralph Sampson shouldn't be in the NBA Hall of Fame or Basketball Hall of Fame because they had very short periods of dominance in the NBA, and they were super dominant in college, and I get it. That's why my main man Grant Hill is in there. But Grant Hill had 7 straight years of killing it in the pros, doing it against the likes of Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, and Bill Walton had about 2 or 3 years of doing that. Sorry, man. Sorry, Bill. You and the great John Wooden don't need to be in the Hall of Fame, man. Get the hell out of it, because I mean, this dude got 5,000 points, and he in the Hall of Fame, man. And I understand it's the basketball Hall of Fame, and that's my argument for granting